December 10th, 2010, my mother and I boarded the Ocean Nova to sail through the Drake Passage to reach Antarctica. Prior to boarding the ship, we stayed in Ushuaia a couple days. The Argentinians call it El Fin de Mundo, or the end of the world. But if you look at the geographics of it, there's a island further south called Puerto Williams, which is a Chilean province, and even further south than that, there's another island that the Chileans own, which has inhabitants on it. And if you go even further south than that, there's Antarctica, which there's no natural inhabitants, but there are 1,000 to 5,000 people there doing research every year. So this question on what the end of the world is, but Ushuaia is a beautiful city nonetheless. Alright, so here we are at the port of Ushuaia. I'm on the Ocean Nova. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm about to show you a breathtaking view of Ushuaia. So, as you see, a lot of the video, the audio is unusable because the wind was just howling. It was so cold. The video and pictures do not do it justice of how cold it was down there. The boat you see across the way is the Clelia II. It got hit 2 days prior by a 30-foot wave in the Drake Passage. All 100 passengers were safe, but it flooded the engines and it puttered into the port about 2 days later on December 10th. It just goes to show you how rough the seas are in the Drake Passage. We're just pushing off the port Ushuaia here, and you see beautiful birds just gathering around. I want to apologize in advance. I shot this entire video on my iPhone 4, which shoots beautiful, HD video, but I did not bring my special tripod with me, so a lot of the video is shaky. And again, the audio is near unusable because I'm telling you, it's just the wind was constantly blowing all the time.
As soon as possible. So thank you for your time, and I will leave to Samuel now.
Deck 5, the Panorama Lounge in the Ocean Nova, is basically where everything took place. You're watching the beginning ceremony, kind of a toast off leaving Port Ushuaia through the Canal Beagle. And I can't stress enough how professional and how great the crew of Antarctica 21 was. This was an express air cruise trip. It's one of its first in its kind. So you take a boat through the Drake Passage and then you fly out of Antarctica back to Punta Arenas, Chile. And the whole crew, Mariano, Daniel Dietz, Ben, Mikkel, Andreas, Dolores, the hotel manager, just really great people. You always felt safe on the boat. The meals were always delicious, and it was just a really good experience. This was an emergency drill that we had to run in case in case the boat did sink, and all that's going through my mind right now is like Titanic, because I don't know what's worse, falling or getting off the boat that high up, or freezing in the Southern Ocean. It's just, you want to stay on that boat as long as you can if you have no life raft or no submersible, which of course they do now, but all I can think of when this guy was talking was, man, if this ship goes down, I'm getting to the highest point of this ship and staying on until the last minute. On the way to Antarctica, we stopped off at a Chilean island called Puerto Williams, where we picked up our waterproof boots, and they had a toast again, and had some pisco sour. It's funny, all the pictures you see of me toasting, because I don't drink alcohol, it's either like ginger ale or lemonade or agua. But this is a really peaceful island, and I grabbed this one picture. If you look right here, I snapped this photo outside while we were waiting for the bus to take us back. And if you look to the right side of my hat, it's the reverse image of my face. I slowed the shutter down, but I have no idea how it captured the reverse image of my face. So we snapped this photo there and it looked pretty cool. A couple years ago, I met a guy in Iceland. We started talking about Antarctica. He said the #1 regret he had in his life was not doing the Drake Passage when he was younger. You don't realize how rough the seas are until you've actually been there, and me saying that it's rough doesn't even do it justice. The seas are so brutal, especially for the 2 days that you pass through. It's just uncomfortable, and people try to do many things. They have the patch behind the ear, they have the wristband or the bonine. I took, a whole bunch of bonine. It didn't seem like anything worked, but I didn't throw up, luckily. But there was people that were sick. They wouldn't come out of their rooms for days. It's just a very, very rough part of the seas.
This boat's rocking like a rocking chair, though.
It's worse than last night.
Alright, so just ate a whole box of bonine. And it's not helping. Oh Lord, this boat is moving. Can't prepare for it. You got wristbands on, bonine, Dramamine.
The mistake you made was going up to the captain's deck. That's the mistake you made.
The mistake I made was getting on the ship. I feel sick as shit. But I haven't puked yet. Not yet.
You see us laughing here, but in reality, it's the only thing that you can do, because you can't jump off the boat. Everything that you do makes it worse. You lay down, you close your eyes, the place is spinning. So I just hung out at the bow most of the time and just endured it right on the front of the panorama lounge. I just noticed a funny little subliminal message there, but my LLRT bracelet was turned to regret just by pure coincidence. But I truly was regretting that moment at that time of, not preparing better, maybe taking a patch or, doing something, because you're just miserable the whole time. After Puerto Williams, our very first excursion on the Zodiac was to Cape Horn. So you can imagine everybody's excited here and we're all nervous and the tensions are running high, because this is the first time we actually got out on the boat in the water. And there were some wonderful people on the ship that day. As you can see, the doctor here, he checked off everybody's name and per room when you got off the ship and then when you got back on, to make sure that everybody was there. Great time in Cape Horn.
If you fall in, scream, because that's what you're going to do anyway. And if somebody does fall in, then your job as a passenger is to keep an eye on them. So they will not spin around and go back and get you and charge you $20 for a pickup fee. That we know where they are.
Is that pesos?
No, I don't take pesos.
When water drops to 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius, which is freezing, the human survival time is between 15 and 45 minutes. In the first 15 minutes, the body becomes exhausted and may even become unconscious. In those times, if somebody doesn't get you, you'll definitely experience hypothermia and then death. These waters were unbelievably cold. When they would splash up from the Zodiac, you don't realize how cold the water is. And Ben is just, you could hear him, he's just a character man from New Zealand. But these are real professionals. These are guys that have been doing this for years and have done tons of excursions and have tons of credits to them.
Now we're walking up 286 stairs to Cape Horn, to the lighthouse. This is the lighthouse. Weather has turned from bad to very bad. Real quick, too. So we're making a move on it quickly to the monument. Winds are up to 50 to 60 knots right now.
Antarctica is the coldest place on Earth. The coldest temperature ever recorded was minus 89.2 degrees Celsius, or minus 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit, July 21st, 1983. To many people's amazement, Antarctica is also a desert. There's very little precipitation. Actually, the Sahara Desert has more precipitation than Antarctica year-round. I'm going to take this boiling cup of water and put it outside in the freezing cold air. Steve! We visited Antarctica in their summer months, but during the winter months, there's something called Condition 1 weather, where wind speeds get up to 74 miles per hour, which is hurricane force winds, and the temperature drops minus 73 degrees Celsius. And imagine this was in their better months. very critical decision to make when we reached Yankee Harbor. As you can see, the conditions were very bad and maybe unsafe to do an excursion to the island. Mariano called a meeting in the Panorama Lounge and said, hey, listen, there's 5 ships in the area, all have aborted the missions, but we're Antarctica 21, we're going on. And then there interrupted a nice little cheer there. So if you didn't feel comfortable going on the excursion, you didn't have to. Some people stayed back. As you can see, the winds were up to 50 to 60 knots, which at that speed, they almost blow you over when you're standing by. So they explained not to stand near the water in case you got, blown in. It's very, very cold and dangerous. So Yankee Harbor was certainly an experience. HO Island was much different, as you can see, a lot calmer than Yankee Harbor, and you see some beautiful wildlife here. On these excursions, we saw 3 types of penguins: the Adelaide, the Gentoo, and the chinstrap penguins. All very beautiful creatures, and they're very peaceful. We also see some elephant seals here. They're not dead. They're actually molting. It's a period when they come in, they go at sea for months on end, and they molt, or they rest, and they shed their skin for about 2 weeks. There's a period, and you're not allowed to disturb them, so we stayed away and took pictures from there. But again, it's just so beautiful to see that there's an area that very few humans and human footprint have been, and these animals are just, they're at peace and they're in the wild. When we got to Discovery Bay, we had a little treat for us. A couple decided to get married in Antarctica, and the captain came out and did the ceremony. It was pretty awesome. Everybody from the ship was there, and we just all took these Zodiacs out from the boat to Discovery Bay and had this little ceremony on this little Chilean island, in Antarctica. And it was pretty beautiful, and it was a nice setting to end the trip too.
Well, this is it. We're at Bedding Housing Station. The last stop for disembarking. We're walking in Bedding House Station, Antarctica, heading out to the church, and then a flight in a couple of hours for a station. That's our plane.